Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to my Oilers versus Canucks recap. Game 10. Alrighty, so I got some venting to get out of the way in the pre-game right off the bat. So last night, one of our best players was Noah Phillips. So how does Knobloch reward him for having an outstanding game? He didn't get a point, but he was instrumental in a goal, and he had a fantastic game. All game. He was just excellent all game. So how does Knobloch reward him? Noah Phillips is in the press box. We've seen this dance before, haven't we? No, Phillips is the best player on the ice, scores a goal, he's in the press box for 3 games. Lazar comes in, he's one of the best players on the ice, he scores a goal. That was the only game he played in the first 9 games. Phillips was one of the best players last night. Well, he's back in the press box today. But our worst player, Evan Bouchard, and Knobloch does absolutely nothing at all to show him any accountability. None whatsoever. Our best pairing last night was Nurse and Wallman. So, of course, they're split up for this game. Nurse was our best player last game. So his reward for being the best player, well, he's saddled with Bouchard this game, which we know from previous years. It doesn't work. That pairing normally doesn't work. You know, Nurse is a elite two-way defenseman. He likes to rush. Bouchard can't spell the word defense. So now you got Nurse sitting back because he can't rely on Bouchard to be back there like Wallman did or like Regula was doing before he got injured. You know, it's so basically if you play well, your reward is to be punished. And if you play crappy, your punishment is to be rewarded. This is how Chris Knobloch thinks. Like, don't get me wrong. I am not the guy that bitches about coaching. I really am not. The Oiler fan base has driven me nuts for years, driving coaches out of this town. So I'm not that guy. But Knobloch is turning me into that guy with his favoritism. You know, it's like, I'm a firm believer that you reward players for playing well. You don't punish them, and you hold the ones that are not playing well accountable. You don't reward them. But apparently Chris Knobloch and I think completely different. This is the logic Knobloch is bringing us again. So, right, before this game ever started, I was in a crappy mood. Lazar and Phillip really need to stop being best players in games. It just lands them in the press box. They need to play like Bouchard and lose us games. In Knobloch's world, that will mean increased ice time and get them on the number 1 power play. So, like, stop scoring goals and stop being responsible defensively. Just turn the puck over and get scored on, and you will be on the number 1 power play and rewarded with 20 minutes ice time. That's how hockey works nowadays, isn't it? I'm only being halfway facetious, people. Lazar draws in for this game, but I didn't expect much from him. He's been, like I said, he's played 1 game out of 9, so he's going to have rust. Hopefully he makes a liar out of me like Wallman did. Like I thought Wallman would have rust too, but then he came out gangbuster, so maybe Lazar will surprise me, who knows. And Pickard is in net. All right, period 1. Vancouver penalty at 15:55 roughing. Oiler power play. Well, the best chance of the power play was Vancouver undresses Bouchard shorthanded, but Pickard comes up with a huge save, and Vancouver kills the penalty. So we're off to a roaring start. Tomasek, Howard, and Savoy back together as a line. Shaking my head. Phillip, Tomasek, and Fredericks were such a strong 4th line yesterday. Like, there wasn't a lot to be cheerful about yesterday, but that line actually was quite good together. So, of course, they got broken up, you know. Again, Knobloch logic. Podkolzin with McDavid and Leon again. Savoy and Howard are now with Henrique. So as soon as you think you know what the lines are, Knobloch mixes them up. Podkolzin's 100% right when he was asked, "What do you think of your line?" And he just answered the reporter, "What line?" Like these players, you know, I'm trying not to be really hard on these players because they have no clue who they're playing with from shift to shift. It changes. And I don't think that's good coaching. I really don't. I think you need to let these players build chemistry with their line mates. That's how they're going to improve. But Knobloch will not allow that. Vancouver goal at 4:18. Kane outraces Emberson, centers to a wide open Besser standing in the slot. Savoy failed to cover his man. 5-hole on Pickard, 1-0 Vancouver. So, yeah, Besser was just standing there alone. Savoy was about 4 or 5 feet away from him. I don't know what Savoy was doing on the play. I really don't. Nice chance by Howard from Tomasek. but Demko stones him. That's the end of the first. So I got to tell you right off the bat, Oilers did not look good in the first 2 periods. This was another game where they only showed up for 1 period. And that's another thing really frustrating me. And this isn't a new issue. We've seen this for years now, but enough already. Start showing up and giving us the effort for 60 minutes. That was the end of the first. Shots on goal were 13-8 for the Oilers, which surprised the hell out of me because I thought Vancouver had the better chances. Second period, Oiler penalty, Podkolzin slashing, 1904. Kulak turns over the puck on the offensive blue line. Nurse and Podkolzin race back to break up a 2-on-1. Podkolzin takes a slashing penalty. I mean, if you're going to take a penalty, that's when you take the penalty. So I'm not really upset with Podkolzin over that. At least he was, well, like I said last game about Bouchard, it's like, I wouldn't mind his turnovers half as much if he busted his ass to get back and break up his turnover. Well, that's what Podkolzin and Nurse were doing, and so they busted their asses to get back, and they broke it up. Unfortunately, Podkolzin got a little too aggressive and picked up a slashing penalty, and it cost us because Vancouver goal at 17:38. It was a prototypical Leon Draisaitl goal. The only problem is it was not Leon, it was against us. But we've seen this 100 times from Leon on the power play. So, you can't really get mad about it. We've seen Leon do a feast on just the best goalies in the league on this play, and that's exactly what got scored on Pickard. So you can't really fault him for it. But yeah, so it's 2-0 Vancouver. RNH was just robbed by Demko. Just absolutely robbed. Oilers penalty slashing Bouchard, 13:41. Bouchard he simply stopped skating and brought his stick down on the other player's stick and cracked the stick in half. It was a lazy, selfish penalty by him. He just didn't want to skate. And by Knobloch's logic, time to give Bouchard the captaincy as a punishment. I mean, that's how it works, isn't it? That seems to be how it works with Knobloch. Vancouver goal at 10:36. So it wasn't power play. We killed the power play, but Vancouver goal at 10:36. Vancouver completely pulls Bouchard off. Now, this was stupid. You had 2 Vancouver guys coming down. This was the puck carrier, and he was facing Nurse, and I believe it was Podkolzin, but it was 2 Oilers, Nurse and somebody else. Bouchard was over here with this guy. Well, Bouchard comes over to make it a 3-on-1 on this one player, and this player just tucks the puck over here softly. Breakaway, goal. I mean, I don't care who it is. That's Bouchard's fault. We don't need a 3-on-1 coverage on the puck carrier. We need him to cover his man. But he does this all the time. So at a certain point, I got to stop getting annoyed with this because we see this every bloody game. So Vancouver goal, 3-0. Oilers challenge for offside. Challenge was successful. No goal. So now it's 2-0 Vancouver again. So we got lucky. We got really lucky because that goal should have never been happened to begin with. So we just got lucky it was offside. And what I wrote is, but this doesn't change the fact Bouchard once again let his man have a breakaway for the 5th, 6th, 7th time this season. I've lost count. Lazar's working, but fighting the puck. And I said at the start, I didn't expect a whole bunch from Lazar. He's been sitting out. This is his 2nd game in 10 games. He sat out 8 of 9 games. So I expected there to be rust, and he was definitely, his hands were rusty. He was giving us a full effort, and he was getting involved. So I can't fault him because he was doing all the right things. His hands were cold, and I blame that on sitting in the press box for so many games. But he was still more engaged than 6 or 7 Oiler forwards through the first 2 periods. So, he was giving us the effort. Others were not. Oilers have not looked good tonight. But when you have no clue who you're playing with shift to shift, it's hard to build any chemistry or cohesion. It's like they don't look good, but how much is that? Just every shift they're with somebody new. We don't have 4 lines. We just have 16 players, and they're just in a blender constantly. Oilers goal at 3:28, Leon from Bouchard and Roslovic. I'll give Bouchard his credit when he deserves credit. This was a gorgeous pass from him. He was down at the dot in our zone, and he did right up the middle of the ice to the blue line, to the Vancouver blue line, and put the puck right on Leon's stick. It was a gorgeous pass, and he deserves all the props for that. And Leon went in and 5-hole through Demko, and boom, 2-1 Vancouver. But then in Vancouver scored again at 39.6 seconds left in the second. Vancouver player toe drags around Ekholm and roofs it on Pickard for the goal. 3-1 for Vancouver at the end of the second. Shots on net were 2018 for the Oilers. Third period, Oilers came out. This was the period the Oilers actually played in. Oilers goal at 18:39. Rosovich gets his first of the year and his first as an Oilers. Now, Rosovich steals the puck on the boards and buries it. He should have gotten one last night. Like, he was shooting like crazy last night. And, if you watch my recap, I picked him as one of the stars because he had a shooter's mentality last night. And he came out ready to play today, and he finally got rewarded. So good to see one go in for him. Vancouver penalty for slashing at 5:30 of the third. Oiler power play. Oiler goal. 5:03, so it only took 30 seconds. Leon from McDavid and RNH. This was a gorgeous tic-tac-toe play for an easy tip-in for Leon. It was gorgeous. It's exactly how you draw it up, and it worked for a change. So it was 3-3 Oilers. So didn't see that coming because, seriously, they did not look good in the first two periods again. And that's something the team really needs to address, is these not showing up for 60 minutes. Not even showing up for 40 minutes, really. So anyway, it was 3-3. One thing I did notice, though, when the Oilers are playing Vancouver, they need to be aware of when they're playing when Evander Kane is on the ice. Kane knows them and their habits. I've noticed Kane predicting plays before they happen and breaking them up all game long. Oilers need to get more creative when he's on the ice. Kane knows their tricks, and I expect it's going to be the same with Connor Brown, but we only play New Jersey twice a year, and we've already played them once, so that's minimized. And it's probably going to be the same when we play Perry in LA if he's not injured. Is these guys know our tricks, and they've played with Leon and Connor, so they got to get more creative so that they're surprising these guys, because these guys are like, Kane was totally predicting what Bouchard and others were going to do. So that was the end of the third. Shots on net 31-28 Oilers. Overtime. Vancouver goal at 3:17. It was a redirect or a tip play. 4-3 Vancouver. Shots on goal 33-30 for the Oilers. Oilers get a point, but this game was very winnable if they had showed up in the first two periods. And that's the same as last night. It's the exact same story. If they show up for a full 60 minutes, both these games are in the win column for the Oilers. But for some godforsaken reason, they only want to show up for one period. What I wrote is, I really do not understand why this team cannot or refuses to play a full 60-minute game. But this isn't a new issue and been plaguing us for years now. So, yeah, that's true. My 3 stars tonight are Leon Draisaitl, Rosovich, and Fredericks. Leon, he was the best player out there for Edmonton, bar none. Rosovich, like I said, he had it coming and he got the goal, and he's really been ramping it up the last 2 games. He struggled for the first couple games, but he's been feeling it in the last couple games, and he got rewarded tonight. And then Frederick this was probably his strongest game as an Oiler. His line was nowhere near as effective as it was last night with Philip and Tomasek. Like him, Philip and Tomasek, they have chemistry, but tonight Fredericks had 8 hits and he was banging out there. He wasn't rewarded with a goal or assist, but he was banging out there, and that's really what we brought him in. We brought him in to replace the physicality that we lost with Kane. So that's how he needs to play. So it was really good, and I'm giving him a star to reward him for it. The 3 slugs are Ekholm, Savoy, and Knobloch. I don't care if Knobloch's not a player. I really don't. This line mixing up constantly, so the players don't know who they're playing with, and this putting Philip and Lazar in the press box constantly. If he's going to keep doing that, I'm going to keep giving him a slug, because this is ridiculous. Savoy was invisible. He was absolutely invisible. So you could have easily had Phillips out there making a far bigger impression than Savoy did. And Ekholm's he's struggling this year. There's just no 2 ways about it. He is struggling. Like that toe drag around him, he would have never fallen for that in previous years. So I don't know if he's still injured or if he's still recovering or if it's age or I don't know what it is. But he's just not been himself in these first 10 games. Anyway, Vancouver won. And our next game is Tuesday at 7:30 Mountain versus Nashville. And it's a home game. The next 2 games are a home game. We play the Rangers after that on Thursday at 7 o'clock Mountain. So that's what we got to look forward to. And that's my recap for today. If you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. It takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. Always feel free to leave a comment. Please come into the comments. Tell me what you thought. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you as frustrated with Knobloch as I am? Because it's really frustrating me. Let me know. Also, when you leave a comment, it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.